Hello and welcome back to the big kickoff on Racing Post Sport. My name's Luke Moore, joined by Mickey Gray, Alan Kirbishley and the Racing Post's Mark Langdon and Bruce Millington. One thing's for sure this season, chaps, and that is that a manager is going to be sacked. Apologies to bring you into this, Alan. I know it's difficult. What is your feeling around the first manager to do so, though? Because presumably Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is going to be top of pretty much everyone's list, given the circumstances. I
mean, first of all, I don't know if Alan took notice of these odds, but certainly some of them do. I remember writing about Neil Warnock being favourite to be sacked. I think he was QPR manager at the time. I got a phone call and somebody else picked it up and said, "Oh, Mark, it's Neil Warnock for you." And I'd just written a story about how he's favourite to be sacked. Oh God, he's going to
He was calling, responding to the article.
So he's responding to the article. I think everybody knows what Neil Warnock can be like. So I'm sort of dreading it. And
a lot of swear words.
Well, is that Mark Langdon? Yeah. How can I help you, Neil? He said, "This me being sacked race favourite." I said, "Yeah." He said, "How much can I have on?" He said, these QPR owners, absolute nightmare. He said, "I'll be lucky to last." And of course, he was joking, and then he was. I think he probably was sacked, wasn't he? I mean, but I think it's not a good guide actually in terms of who's the favourite. Like Jukanovic was 50-1 last year,
right.
And often the favourite, which is Solskjaer this time. They get probably a little bit more time than the bookmakers anticipate. I was looking at Roy Hodgson, around about 10-1. He's in a 1-year contract. Obviously, sort of hit veteran status now in his 70s. They've lost Wan-Bissaka. If they lose Zaha as well, who would the Palace sort of fans start to blame? And I think some of them some of them were turning on Hodgson last year anyway. And he's been there a while. Some people moan about the style of play. It just feels like it could be a season of change at Selhurst.
Bruce, are you going to step in to defend your dear leader at this point?
I'll defend my dear leader, but I won't defend, and I'll also defend Mark's argument because the Palace fans whinge like mad these days. It's quite embarrassing to be honest. And I think Hodgson's done a terrific job. I think he's a great manager, but you have to remember De Boer lasted 3 games, didn't he?
Is this manager to leave his position or to be actually
to leave?
Yeah. So that changes it somewhat.
Well, it does to an extent because if a big job came available elsewhere and say a Pellegrini was taken out, that would count. So I can't argue with what you're saying there, Mark. I'm hoping it will be okay, but I do agree it wouldn't take much for people to get very twitchy there.
It's only fair that we allow the only manager on our panel to have to say. What do you make of this, Alan?
It's obvious that anyone who falls in the bottom 3
is going to be under pressure
after 10 games. Is going to come under pressure. Now, if it's a newly promoted side, which the expectation is they are going to be around there, then it's a little bit of a test for the owners. Is it going to be the Norwich man? Is it going to Chrissy Wilde? I can't imagine it. Is it going to be Dean Smith, newly promoted side, finding themselves in a bit of trouble after 10 games, or perhaps a little bit more than that? But if it's a club that is not expected to be anywhere near that, be around it, then that is serious pressure that's going to come on that manager. For instance, if it was Everton in the bottom 6, something like that. Not so much Palace, because I think most people will have them in and around that area. It's where they're not expected to be. I think the newly promoted sides are expected to be in and looking over their shoulders. It's someone who is not expected to be there, perhaps like a West Ham. Who we're talking about.
We sort of have with Spurs, didn't we, before Harry Redknapp came in? Was it Juan de Ramos was moved on?
It was, early on. I suppose Marco Silva does divide opinion at Everton, doesn't he?
I think a lot of people think the jury's still out with him as well. Another highlight of the specials markets, Bruce, is the top half, bottom half. Anything stand out for you in that?
Well, we're talking about these kind of big 6s and any 3 from 13. I actually think that there could be a fairly clear distinction between 10th and 11th this season, because I think, as well as the established perceived big 6, I think you've got 4 teams beneath or in and around them in Leicester, West Ham, Everton and Wolves, who are a good bit better than the rest. So I think there's a clear division, and I don't particularly like backing odds on shots when you've got to wait until May to get your money, but I think 8-11 West Ham top half is a perfectly good bet. I suppose Watford are potentially a threat there, and Palace, let's not forget, if they do keep Zaha, if you look at the second half of the Premier League table last year, so the last 19 games, Palace actually finished 5th. So it's not necessarily clear-cut, but I do think that those 10 teams are better. So I like West Ham to finish in the top half. I think that that's a decent price.
Don't forget to let us know if you've got a team you think's definitely going to finish in the top half, to pop it in the comments below. Mark, something that really catches my eye in the specials markets are these big, exciting ones, like team to win the quadruple, team to go undefeated. Man City probably takes some interest in the undefeated market particularly.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you have a look at it, I mean, bookmakers built up huge liabilities last year on Man City to win the quadruple. It was around about sort of the 200 to 1. It's now 100 to 1. They won 3 of them, and I mean, and they were knocked out in dramatic circumstances of the Champions League when, you know, they'll feel like they should have knocked Tottenham out, and then all of a sudden they've got a semi-final against Ajax.
And
I mean,
they were
really close to the quadruple. It's 100 to 1 this time around. I would suspect that probably staying unbeaten in the Premier League is the slightly easier task. That's a 50 to 1 shot. Liverpool only lost once last season, and they didn't win the league, did they?
Mickey, give us some perspective on how difficult it would be to go win every single Premier League game.
Well, what has it happened once?
The
Invincibles with Arsenal. So I think, you know, we've talked about Man City over the last 2 seasons, maybe staying unbeaten. But there's always a period in the season where there's a little bit of fatigue with the players. You've got a couple of your top players who are going to not be in the starting 11. That's the time to get at Man City. Guardiola will probably hope and pray that his side can stay unbeaten. But again, I think they might lose 1 or 2 games, and it just depends about the teams around. Well, I suppose we're going to be talking about Liverpool and how close they can stay with Man City when they do slip up, whether it's over that Christmas period or not. It's those games when they come thick and fast. It is very, very hard.
One word from each of you: can a team go undefeated this season in the Premier League?
No.
No.
I think they can, yeah. There's 2 fantastic candidates. They've just got to make sure that they don't drop points to each other.
Well, watch this space. Thank you very much, chaps. That's the end of our specials market edition of the Big Kickoff here on Racing Post Sport. Don't forget to put your comments below and let us know what you think.